Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm super excited about spring break and getting my kids ready to read over break. So in this video, I'm going to talk about one of the strategies that I use, a book pass, to get them excited about reading over break, to get them to try some new books, and to make sure they're ready with enough books to read. Are you ready? Let's go. We know that one of the biggest things that gets in the way from kids reading over break, whether it's summer, winter, or spring break, is access to books. They need to be flooded with books, and if they don't have books around them, then they're not going to read. And some of the kids in my class will say, well, I don't need to bring any books home. I have books at home. I have books on my bookshelf in my bedroom. And I like to say, but you haven't been reading them for a reason. You don't really want to read them. They're just there. They're just books that you've had, and you haven't been reading them for a reason. So why do you think you're going to pick them up over break to read them? They usually don't. One of the strategies that I use before my kids go on a break is a book pass, and I love it so much. I used to call it book speed dating, but speed dating sounds kind of weird for an elementary class. So what I do is I put a ton of books out. I put them in different areas of the room. I think this year we did 5 different areas, and I have middle grade novels, I have graphic novels, I have nonfiction, I have picture books, all kinds of books at each station. And then I let the kids know, guys, we're going to be looking at some new books, and I want you to spend 6 minutes at the station just reading the back covers, reading the jacket flaps, reading the first chapter, reading the first page. Just try to get yourself looking at some different books, maybe some books that you haven't read before or some authors that you don't know that are new. And the rules are pretty simple. I like it to be sort of quiet so that kids can read, but I definitely want them to be talking to each other about the books that they're seeing and talking with kids that they see a book that kid might like. So there's a little bit of talking during that, but mostly it's just kids exploring new books. One of the things that I know about my students is that as they get into a series or find a favorite author, and that's great, I love that they do that, but sometimes they just don't have that time or can't find the opportunity to try something new and to try something different from what they're doing. And a book pass is kind of a non-threatening way for them to be able to do that. I have a lot of different strategies for how I select the books, and it changes from time to time depending on what my class needs. Sometimes if I get a lot of new books in the classroom, I'll do a book pass then because there's a lot of new things and I want kids to kind of have an opportunity to look at each one of the books in a way where it's not just, oh, here's a book, here's a book, here's a book, here's a book, and then one kid takes it and then another kid takes it, and it's a month before that book ever gets into the classroom library. Another way that I decide what books to put into the book pass are maybe books that aren't being read that I think the kids would like. A lot of times a few hot series will kind of take over a classroom, and some books that I think if they gave a chance they'd really like kind of get lost among the shelves. So I'll put those books on the different tables, and hopefully the kids will kind of see them when they have a little bit more time and they're not focus on the series that they're reading, and maybe they'll add them to their to-read list or even start reading them right away. Another thing that I often think about are authors and illustrators that I want to introduce them to that maybe they haven't been reading, or maybe 1 or 2 kids are reading and I want to get it to the masses. So I'll put those authors, like a bunch of books by one author at a certain table so that the kids will start to see that author and maybe find a new author that they love. I do allow kids to take 1 or 2 books with them from station to station, not like a giant stack of books. If they want to go back at the end and get it, that's fine. But mostly I want these books to be previewed and seen. But if a kid finds a book that they really want, absolutely take it with you and keep it. And then when we're done with the book pass, read it, because that's the goal. We want kids exposed to more books. We want kids to see more books. But at the end of the day, we want kids reading more books. I love that they are taking books from the book pass and reading those books at their seat, at their home, on break. That's the goal. We did our book pass 2 days before spring break. The kids were able to add a lot of books to their to-read list. They were able to have a lot of new books that they really, really wanted to read. And they were also talking about the books with each other. So I feel like it was a pretty big success. We'll probably do at least 1 more before the end of the year as we add new titles to our classroom library. I'd love to know what strategies you have in place in your classroom, in your library, with the kids that you serve to help them get ready for reading over break. What kinds of things do you do? Do you do a book pass? Do you have a different way that you do it? What other things do you do to make sure that your kids, that your students have the books that they need to read and be successful reading over break? Thank you so much for tuning in. It means the world to me. Click that subscribe button down below if you're new to the channel. I would love to help you in any way that I can, get kids excited about reading, find new books, just fall in love with reading. If you have any questions or need me for any reason, send me an email, colbysharp@gmail.com. Thanks for tuning in. It means the world to me. Have an awesome day and happy